The lie most dog daycares are living. Why being busy, fully booked, and still not making enough money is a sign you built the wrong model. Beth and I just got back from a few days away in Spain. This was actually our second mini break this month, and I returned feeling fresh and ready to deliver the new asset building curriculum for my new Dog Daycare Success Academy members. As I was flying home, I was thinking about how most dog daycare owners that I know don't take proper breaks. And it's not because they don't want to or don't deserve to, it's because they can't afford to. And as I was thinking about this sitting in the departures lounge, I came across some comments on one of my social media posts that I feel totally backs up this point. So over the last month or so, I've put out a number of pieces of content about marketing to the affluent. I actually did 2 podcasts on the topic for the Pet Boarding and Daycare podcast, which I host. 2 pods because once I started talking about it, I realized I had too much to say to fit into one podcast. And I also wrote an article for Pet Boarding and Daycare magazine titled The Affluent Attraction Strategy. Now, I'll preface this by saying the content did get some very favorable comments too, like this one from Coach Bella Vasta, who said, "Great topic. This is going to be so important in the next 12 to 24 months for many reasons." And she's not wrong. In fact, the topic of marketing to the affluent has been important to me and my clients for about the last 10 years. At my Impact event in 2019, I did a whole bonus day of training called Marketing to the Affluent. I think transitioning your pet business from a pile-em-high, everybody welcome warehouse model to more of a personalized, experiential premium offering is the big shift that smart owners will be making in the next decade. However, not everyone is ready for this kind of thinking. I know, shock horror, someone disagreed with me online. I had a couple of comments from pet business owners who didn't think this was something they needed to concern themselves with. One replied with, "You folks keep raising prices, I'll continue to charge a bit less, have no employees and double my size. Our customers love us." Now, I have no doubt the customers do love them. Who wouldn't want to pay rock bottom prices all the time? And it's true that a lot of us do love a bargain, but it's also true that it's incredibly difficult to build a pet business that grows in value and doesn't fall apart the minute costs go up if you operate on the lower end of the market. Plus, as any experienced business owner knows, if your business has no employees and is completely dependent upon you, it isn't really a business, it's a job with no holidays. And there was another couple of interesting comments. One said, "Meh, this is my retirement thing, I don't care about that." And another said, "Awesome. Encourage everyone to have the private equity mentality so there are no services for anyone except the most wealthy. Yay!" Now, as someone who has coached thousands of pet business owners, I am used to people getting a little bit upset when it comes to my views on pricing, positioning, and charging high prices for pet services. So I welcome these comments, which I'm going to pick apart a little bit here in this video. Now, if owning a pet care business is your retirement thing, then great. You can maybe afford to take a longer term view of things. But you shouldn't assume, and it may even be a mistake, to think your business will be valuable enough for someone to want to buy it when you retire just because you've owned it for a long time. At my recent Impact Success Summit in Florida in January, my keynote speaker, Taya Hickler, warned the attendees that she sees this all the time. Owners who've spent 20 years building something they thought was valuable, only to find out that it isn't. These are businesses they've spent decades in, and sometimes they have to rethink their retirement and put off selling the business because there are so many serious structural problems with the profitability of the business. And as for private equity, yes, there has been and will continue to be a lot of consolidation in the pet service sector. Because of that, selling to private equity remains one of the best ways to unlock the value of a business you've spent your lifetime building. And I would argue that being premium and positioning your services as the natural choice for affluent dog owners is not really private equity thinking at all. It's just future-proofing your business for the changes that are happening in the market. Let me explain. One of the best and one of the most dangerous things about running your own business is you get to do whatever you want with your business. If you want to be low priced and undercut everyone you can, If you want to be the refuge for all the difficult dogs that most facilities can't handle, then great. That can indeed be your niche. If you want to have an all-inclusive model where you charge a flat rate and include all of the extras for free, then yep, you can do that. However, in business, as in life, every decision you make has consequences. If you choose to underprice, you will attract people who make decisions solely based on price. They generally question everything, they complain more than other clients, they leave faster, and you end up working a lot harder for people who value you less. If you choose to stay small and solo, yes, you keep all of the money on paper, but you also keep all of the responsibility. You have no team, no leverage, and you certainly have no exit plan. You've bought yourself a job with dogs. If you choose to be all things to all dogs, you dilute your services, you become everything to everyone, and generally average businesses compete on price. If you choose to ignore rising costs, then as wages and rent and insurance go up, your margins will quietly disappear. A lot of the clients I work with have been in business for 10, 20, or even 30 years, and on paper they have built super successful businesses, and they often have multiple facilities. But even they have recognized that the game has changed now. They need a new pricing model, they need new promotional methods, and they needed help if their business is to continue to grow. And that's kind of the bigger message here. If you choose not to evolve, that's your call, but the market is going to evolve anyway, and it will leave you behind, and you will have to deal with the consequences at some point. When I started my first pet business, Pack Leader Dog Adventures, back in 2011, I knew I wanted to be premium, so I charged twice as much as my competitors from day one. And I had zero business experience, and I had even less of a clue about dogs. So why did I do that? Well, I knew from my previous role as a sales rep with a tobacco company that there were cheap brands, there were medium price brands, and there were expensive brands. And the expensive brands generally had a vastly bigger profit margins, and they also had more loyal customers. The cheaper brands attracted cheap price buyers who had zero loyalty, and these customers are constantly looking to save a dime or a penny, and they would switch to a cheaper brand without a second thought. The bad news about those types of people is they generally make terrible clients or customers for you and your pet business. The good news is you don't have to, and you shouldn't build your business around those people. You can have a business that serves more affluent dog owners who are looking for a service that offers more value, who prefer more personalization for their pooches. These are people who want more for their dog. They want the best for their dog, and they are prepared to pay handsomely for those premium services. Certainly, this is what I discovered in my first business. My premium prices actually repelled the cheapskate clients, and I was able to build a super profitable business around a relatively small number of premium clients. Now, when you choose to follow the road less traveled and intentionally pursue the more affluent subsection of the market, there's a few things you need to consider, and you could say there are consequences to this decision also. So here's 3 things you need to action if you want to be seen, known, feared, and revered as the top dollar, top dog, luxury leaning, Disney level dog daycare in your town. Number 1, you must be noticeably different and better. Affluent buyers aren't just looking for better than average. It's not enough to just do the same as your competitors, but be a little bit better. Slightly cleaner kennels, a marginally bigger outdoor space won't cut it. You need to offer a more experiential service. It has to excite the client and feel like something that they can't get from anyone else. Number 2, you simply can't offer premium services and a wow factor experience without charging top dollar. Wowing clients and making them feel special requires more personalization, it requires investment in a great onboarding experience for them, and all this costs money. Money that you can't invest if you charge low prices. So remember, if you want to be seen and known as the best, you must charge the best or the highest prices. When you go premium, growth is slower. It is vastly more profitable, but certainly with my pet business, I grew slower than I would if I had charged the regular prices that all the other dog business owners were charging. Affluent dog owners are often, it takes you longer to find them. You need to use different kinds of media to reach them as well, often offline media, which costs more money, and that ties back into point 2 that we made earlier. It was very satisfying for me to see other pet professionals who had to walk twice as many dogs, work twice as hard to earn the same money as me. And certainly by adopting a make more with less philosophy, it meant I did offer a more better, more attentive, more personalized service for my clients. So if it's better to have a premium business, then why don't more people do it? Well, lots of reasons, but the main one is fear. Fear of losing clients, fear of pricing yourself out of the market, fear of looking like you are taking advantage of dog owners in need and you only care about the money. We'll get into those and other psychological blockers in a future video, but for now, I just want to leave you with this thought, and it ties back to one of the comments made by a pissed off follower of my content. That is, you are making it only for the wealthy. Now that simply isn't true. See, we all have some guilty pleasure that we love spending a ton of money on. For me, it's red wine and nice hotels when I travel, and I travel a lot. For you, it might be high fashion jeans, Labubu dolls, Tiffany earrings, or tickets to world-class sporting events. For many dog owners, their guilty pleasure is their dog, and they'll gladly find money in their budget to spend on what they perceive to be life-enhancing food, toys, medical care, and yes, enrichment dog daycare and luxury boarding services. Now, the flip side to that argument is that affluent dog owners are already spending money in your town, they're just not necessarily spending it with you. A wise mentor once told me that in every town, in every city, in every industry, there is a top, a middle, and a bottom service provider. And if you look hard enough, you'll find a luxury, super expensive top end of the market offering and a cheap as chips bottom feeding end of the market. You get to choose who you sell to. Your town has premium gyms, premium hair salons, premium restaurants. Those business owners chose to target more affluent clients. I know most pet business owners didn't get into this business for the money. You wanted a better life. You wanted more freedom from your previous role as an employee. Most of all, you got into this for your love of dogs and because you wanted to make an impact in your community. I wanted exactly the same thing. You still hold those values, but somewhere along the way it turned into long days, constant high stress, and you confused being busy with being successful. The real problem here isn't the economy, the competition, or your clients, it's the model. You built a business around a model of low prices, high volume, which leads to more dogs, more stress, more headaches for you and your staff members. You don't have a marketing problem, you have a business model problem. You need a better business model. One where you offer more value-packed, experiential, premium services that affluent dog owners are looking for, which means you can easily charge higher prices and these clients will often buy additional services and add-ons too. This new model is something I'll be touching on in future videos, and I'll be deep diving on this in way more detail with my Dog Daycare Success Academy members at our 2-day immersion event in Boston next week, where the theme is profit. And how do you make profit more easily? You sell to clients who are predisposed to buying high-priced services. Anyway, speaking of Boston, it's time for me to pack. Have a great week. Keep it unreal. Bye for now.